Hi everyone, it's Victor speaking, and today I'm going to carry on with my house series. So this is the day when we have to discuss what sixth house means in our natal chart. I would like to make a quick announcement. I am going to be holding a webinar on solar arc, which is going to be happening on the 7th of March. This is a timing technique which is quite simple but very powerful. And the webinar is going to be approximately about 4 hours with plenty of examples. So you can go back and then check your own solar arc charts. But without any further ado, let's start talking about the sixth house, because it is an interesting and probably one of the most difficult houses to interpret. This house is commonly referred to the house of health. So in ancient times, this house was called as the house of bad diamonds. Diamond is a Greek word which means spirit. Now they believed that Mars does quite well here because it gives the ability to fight those bad spirits. This is an earthy house, which makes sense as all our illnesses relates to the way we live our life. The only thing which serves us the most is our physical well-being, and that is the main meaning of the sixth house. But we definitely gonna dive into that a lot deeper. So some of the questions this house is gonna ask you: Do you serve your body well? Do you use your skills to make money and maintain your life? At the same time, do you spend enough time on having fun as well? And the reason being is because this is the second house from the fifth. So the fifth house is all about fun and recreation, and the second house is all about money and self-worth. So the only way this house is activated if you are working with your creative talent on a daily basis, because the sixth house is the house of daily routines, as well as trying to pump your self-worth as much as possible. Another question this house formulates is whether you do exercises on a regular basis. So let's not forget that the illness feeds from our fear. So this house is also associated with some of our fears too. Um, but it is not only about training the body, but training the mind as well. So this house is the balance between body and spirit. Um, I usually associate sixth house something to do with our eating habits also. And I usually say what we put into our body is who we are, right? So questions again, what do we do on a regular basis? How do we cope with daily routines? Can we have a schedule or we are completely against it? So having an Aquarius house cusp here, for instance, indicates that you are very rebellious about schedule, unless you've got more like a restrictive earthy planet in that sixth house. This house asks you, whether you can attend to your regular duties, as well as whether you are able to do things which you enjoy the most. This is a Virgo-like house, which talks about healthy diet. So this house, in my opinion, is very much associated with what we put into our body. And it acts like a fuel. So, another question this house might bring up is whether you cleanse the body on a regular basis, just like we do when, for instance, our clothes get dirty and then we put our laundry in the washing machine. So with this house, it is important to remember that we not only work for others, but we work for ourselves as well. This is the house which deals with daily dealings. So what will I wear today? Do I need a haircut? Do I need to go to the grocery shop? So I think it does make sense that this is the house which is, I think this makes sense because this is the house which is one before we step outside the world. The world is kind of represented by the seventh house. So I would call this house as the front porch, and the front porch of your, of your place of living before you get out there and you show yourself to people in the streets. And what do you usually do with your front porch? You clean it up because you don't want others to formulate an opinion about yourself. So another question, a theoretical question, which this house entails, is how often do you sweep your front yard? And as I said, I'm guessing you do that quite often, just to maintain your surroundings and not to have negative opinions from your neighbors. So this house wants to remind you of the need to maintain your body and soul as well, inside and outside also. So this is also the reason why the service people belong here as well, as service people who do something for you. So, for instance, if you have got a cleaner, a gardener, or a chef coming to you on a regular basis, all those people are described by the sixth house in your natal chart. Now, many people associate this house with work, but I don't completely agree with that. The reason why, because I think this is the house of the routine you carry out at work rather than the work itself. So I would rarely look at the sixth house as, as a career aspiration or the easy way to make success in your life. This house is more like whether you are punctual or you work on time or you work on your schedule or how you cope in with deadlines and so forth. And I don't think this house somehow represents your talent. Of course, some people do choose to work with their sixth house, and that is okay, don't get me wrong. But this is not the work area which is your highest potential or your highest capability. Now, this house is also your this house is also the house of your pets. And the reason why, because they are part of your everyday routine. Let's just think about that. They are not able to feed themselves, or they are not able to open the doors when they need to go to the loo. And I do believe that having a pet has a healing effect on individuals. And small animals in our lives have a large influence on our personality, along with our daily habits and behavior. So I'll give you an example. My beautiful Pisces rising sign loves getting up at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I usually start working at around 12, 1 p.m., and then I finish around midnight. I've had my doggies for 6 months now, and my life has completely changed. So we get up at 7:30 because they tell me, please, Victor, get out of bed. We need to go to the loo. We are hungry. You have to play with them and so forth. So during the day between clients, I entertain myself by watching Netflix or cooking something. Now that's not the case. The only time when I'm kind of allowed to watch telly or doing something on my laptop is usually the evening. So I had to kind of reschedule my life around them. And I must be honest, I'm quite grateful. Nowadays, I put down, work at around 7 p.m. and I've got the evening for me, and then I go to bed around midnight. And I feel like it's very important that, we fall asleep somehow between 11 and 1 a.m. because that's when the soul can reconnect with the galactic center to get new impulses for the following day and so forth. So, you know, Doggies or pets give us routine because they require us to take them to the garden or take them for a walk. And let's not forget how important it is for them to have a regular schedule. Um, Pets connect with humans by giving them friendship. But besides that, they also teach us how to care for someone other than ourselves. So this house actually is the very first realization of other people's needs. Uh, it's going to be more emphasized in the seventh house, which I'm going to be talking about in my next video. But when we talk about how a child is progressing, in the fifth house, I might have mentioned, or I might not have, but they are quite greedy there because, oh, this is my toy, you can't play with that. They complain to the kindergarten teacher and so forth. But in the sixth house, they start learning about uh, giving their toys to other kids as well. So this is the house where we have to learn about to share something with others. And I also believe that pets and their owners also may inherit each other's attributes and behaviors throughout the time they spend together. And somehow, yes, sometimes the energies will collide, and sometimes those energies get infused as well. So, this is the house where you need to learn how to influence others in a positive or in a negative way, whichever you choose. So, therefore, I believe that the sixth house is associated to a certain extent with teaching as well. I would also like to mention that the sixth house is so much connected with karmic experiences. This house talks about karmic debts. And some of those people, who were maybe veterans, they might come back as a surgeon, for instance. And because this is the house of service industry. So these people want to help others and somehow they work in helping professions. Now, the state of the sixth house indicates your daily routine and the methods you use to get your work done. The cusp of this house describes the nature of your work and the general environment of your workplace. So basically, it means that if you try to find a workplace according to your sixth house, actually, it might be a good idea because it describes the surroundings of your workplace. What would make you feel happy at work? And this is something similar with the moon placement as well. This house also rules over people you employ, whether at home or work, it doesn't matter. So this is the house of employees. Now, going a little bit more in depth in regards to the health related association of this house. It's going to be asking you the question, are you going for regular checkups? How is your health? How is your health and how is your relationship with health overall can be seen from this house as well. Now, when you are determining someone's health condition, you want to check the sixth and the first house as well. The first house is very much about your vitality, and the sixth house is more about what type of illnesses you might be prone to. Now, this is a Mercurian house. So in the third house, we collect information. Here we sort them out. So this house has got a very strong meticulous side to it. We can overanalyze things. And also the ruler of the sixth house can show the area of life where we tend to do that. But this house also has got the edge of anxiety and overprotectiveness. So what area of life you want to protect so much? What area of life you can get anxious about? And let's not forget that, when we are not living a fulfilling life, when we are not following our fifth house, then that's why we get sick. This is the reason why these houses have got this, order, how they follow each other. So we are having fun in the fifth house. If we don't live a happy life, we are not visible in the world according to the sign of the fifth house. And of course, the ruler, then it has got a physical manifestation. Again, second from the fifth. I hope that makes sense. So I feel like the sixth house is the house which can also talk about how you can reach your fullest potential. The sixth house is the CV you present to others. It's very much associated with labor work. So anything to do with, nurses, mechanics, chefs, cleaners, engineers, all those work fields belong here because they provide a service to others. I also believe that on a psychological level, this house talks about the coping mechanism you develop. So, of course, some people will take on plenty. As I said, it might be karmic debt, or whether it's karmic debt or not, it doesn't really matter, because by taking responsibility for this life is something which is creating a new karma for you anyway. But I would love to talk to you about karma one day. According to the Hindu astrology, there are 4 types of karma, but I'm not going to go into that in details. So, and therefore, speaking about the karmic experience, karmic duty you have to pay back in this lifetime, it is also a road to self-healing, more in a spiritual way, but I also believe that this house holds, the key to heal yourself. So it's not just about the illness, but how you can heal that. So I'll give you an example. Let's suppose that we've got Aries in the sixth house, Aries on the sixth house cusp. And Aries will be focused on physical energy, which I think makes sense because we're talking about, the sign's ruler, which is Mars. And Mars has got this go-getting nature. It's all about pushing forward. So the key for an Aries house cusp or having Mars here is to figure out your best fitness routine. And, as I mentioned, the sixth house is not only about the physical body, but also it is the mental state and the emotional well-being. The term health here is holistic, since everything is interconnected. It's interconnected with the 12th house. That's more about the mental part of the illness. The sixth house is more about the physical part of it. But those are very much connected. Why is that? Because the 12th house is, the sixth house is 7 from the 12. So how I relate 7th house to my mental problems, 12th house, and how is that going to manifest in my physical body? So if someone has repressed feelings or emotions, it will likely result in physical disease. So satisfaction with work-life balance, will result in enjoyment and feelings of fulfillment. By the way, I forgot to mention in regards to the pets that any animal belongs here, which is smaller than a cattle. Just a quick note on that. Also, this house rules farmers or problems with domestic appliances, even the crops. And in mundane astrology, this house represents food reserves, farms, grains, even libraries, bookkeepers, because they are keeping a record over things. The sixth house is like a filing system. So that's why I call the sixth houses as the house where we regularly, sixth house regularly, need to do a spring clean. So, when you have got a heavy sixth house or a transit to your sixth house, go to your cupboard, sort it out, chuck everything away which is energetically blocking you. And it might be some of your memories, which I know it's harsh to say, but sometimes we need to bin them to be able to make space for new things to enter in our life. So I call this house as a filing system house. It is all about trying to create chaos so that I can overcome that chaos, because the sixth house wants everything to be set in order. But in mundane astrology, this is going to be the house of the working class, factories, but also, of course, the public health. Now, speaking about public health, it just came to my mind that having a retrograde planet, for instance, in the sixth house could indicate reoccurring issues. By the way, when it comes to the body part, this rules the low part of the belly, bowels, especially the small intestines. Sorry, I hate that word because I never can pronounce it properly. But anyway, so let's have a look at, for instance, an example. So let's suppose you've got Libra on the sixth house cusp. So if you have got Libra on the sixth house cusp, what is Libra? It's all about balance. So in order for them to have good health, they need to find balance in their relationship. Why relationship? Because Libra's health issues are usually rooted in their relationship problems. Libra rules relationships. Libra is a marriage-seeking sign. But since the sixth house is the sign of cleaning and fixing things, they choose partners that need fixing in some ways. So, and sometimes the partner can take this as an insult. So it could bring some type of tension within the body. And I've seen actually people with some personality disorder as well, if they have got Libra on the cusp. I mean, it's a general information. Let's not forget about that. You need heavy planets to have such a thing. So don't think that you've got personality disorder because you've got Libra on your cusp. But these people usually want to find some type of stimulation within the relationship. And if they don't get fully the love they need, then actually these are the times when they get sick, because Libra wants to give something as well, but also it's a cardinal energy. So there is that little bit of greedy parts to Libra. They want that love to be reciprocated, and there is nothing wrong with that. But if we look at Libra from a work perspective, then work relationships might be crucial for them. So obviously Libra is a cardinal energy. Cardinal is quite bossy. So somehow delegating tasks at work could be important for them. But they do that with fairness and justice. So it's not going to be giving so much burden to someone and nothing to another, because at least they want to be creating peace. Libra is the peacemaker. But Libra here needs a beautiful surroundings. And they want to be surrounded by people they can actually work with, love working with, or they want to share some moments with them. Yes, so let's have a look at the turned chart. meaning of the sixth house. So this house can represent your father's siblings because this is the third from the fourth house. Your mom's educational level because that's the ninth house from the 10th. It could unfortunately talk about the death of a friend of yours because this is the 8th from the 11th. It could potentially talk about your child's financial background or situation because the second from the 5th. But also, this house talks about the losses your spouse might go through. And last but not least, this is going to be the living circumstances of your siblings. Now, I would like to remind you, I have made a couple of videos about transits. The reason why I'm speaking to you about turned houses, because your chart is not only about you, but about people as well who matter to you. So you might be having a Saturn running through your sixth house, and you are scared that I am going to get sick. But it might be your father's sibling who is feeling restricted. Maybe your mom wants to study something and becoming a master. Or unfortunately, maybe you lose a friend of yours, or your partner is going through some psychological matters. Of course, transit might show other people in your life, but only those ones who are affecting you as well. So I hope this house interpretation helps you to analyze your sixth house. So don't forget to press like, ring the notification bell, share the video with others. It helps me to grow the channel and it helps me to actually create more content like this. So see you soon with the seventh house. Have a blessed day, everyone. Bye bye.